welcome to my art channel. Thanks for stopping by to make some art with me. For more free art lessons, you could press the button below and subscribe right there on that red button. And I will see you really soon. And let's get to making some art. Bye-bye. Wood block prints from India. Wood block printing on textiles is the process of printing patterns on textiles, usually of linen, cotton, or silk, by means of carved wooden blocks. Traditionally, this craft is done in a village setting, in cooperation between the block carvers, printers, dyers, and washers. It is the earliest, simplest, and slowest of all methods of textile printing. Block printing by hand is a slow process. The process begins with a design drawn with pencil on paper. The block is then smeared with a chalk paste, and the design can then be transferred onto the wood. The block is carved out with different sized chisels by hand to create an intricate carving. On average, a printer uses 4 to 5 blocks to create a hand-printed cloth. Each hand-carved block produces its own unique design. Hi guys, welcome to Mixed Media. Today we're going to do a project like the India wood blocks that you saw in the slides, except we are going to do styrofoam printing. We're going to print using pieces of styrofoam. And then we're going to create, using our prints, a textile, or something that looks like a textile. So I'm going to go over the materials. What you're going to need are 4 pieces of styrofoam printing sheet, about 4 inches by 3 inches. You're going to need some paper to print on. Printer paper is fine. I would have a couple of sheets of this. You're also going to need an extra sheet to kind of do some sketches and practice the designs. You will need a pencil, a ballpoint pen. Later on you'll need a scissor and a glue stick. You're going to need magic markers, and most importantly is some water and a sponge. So I'm going to move my stuff out of the way and we will get started. Let's take a look at how to draw some of the designs that you will find in a wood block, a carved wood block. There's often designs on the edges that are petals or lace looking designs. There's a lot of flowers and vines. In this wood block, we have a lot of geometric designs. So I'm going to show you how to draw the most popular designs, and you could use these in your art if you want, or you can make up your own designs. So the first thing that you're going to see very often in the wood block prints are flowers. So let's start with a simple flower, and this flower is called a lotus, and it starts with a teardrop shape, and inside the teardrop will be another teardrop, like that, and then another teardrop in there. Then we're going to start making the petals coming off the teardrop. Like that. And this becomes a wide looking flower, and that's the lotus. And I'm just going to add a stem. with some leaves. And that's one type of flower that you will see in woodblock printing. Another one is just another type of design that I've seen often. Starts again with the teardrop, and it has a line going through it. And then it has a dot at the top of the line. And some curved lines in between, like that, to make the leaf. And then around the teardrop, we're going to make some petals. And these are just some more typical type flowers that you will find in the symbols and designs from India. You're also going to see a lot of leaves. You might see, let's start with the teardrop leaf that looks something like this. It's a teardrop with a little oval inside, and then just a bunch of lines going around the teardrop, and a little stem from the leaf. Another leaf you might see is shaped more like that, and then it's going to be outlined like so. And then on the inside you'll have the vein of the leaf, and with the stem of the leaf you're also going to have some curlicues coming out. These type of curlicues are very popular in this type of art form. Another thing that you will see a lot is the paisley design, which is a teardrop, but the top is kind of on an angle like that. And then it's usually outlined like that. Inside you might find some sort of a flower. Or just some vines. And around the paisley there's usually some type of a petal or a lace design. Just kind of half circles. Little crease in the middle to make it look like petals. Like so. And one more design that you see a lot is this lace looking, petal looking design, and they use it so often. They use it in different types of art forms in India. And it's usually like a double line, and then there's just petals coming around on top of it. And this you often see on the edge. You'll see it around different things. If this flower was in a circle, it might have this kind of edging around it. So these are just some samples of some designs from your reference sheet that you can use, or you can make up your own designs, whatever you like. What you're going to do next is you're going to draw the pictures that you want onto a piece of paper first, and then we're going to put it onto the styrofoam. Since I've already drawn these designs, I'm going to put them on the styrofoam. I'm going to show you how. So I'm going to start with taking one piece. Let me just cut this out to make it a little bit easier. See? I'm going to start with the paisley. I'm going to put it on my sheet. Now, once I start drawing, I can't move this sheet of paper because it will move the whole design over. So you have to hold on to it and make sure it doesn't move. So I'm going to trace over with my ballpoint pen the design that I made. And go slow, because any mistakes that you make will make an imprint into the styrofoam, and you will see them when you print, when you make the actual print. And you don't have to press too hard. You just have to be able to feel it. Okay, and when I pull my paper off, I don't know if you could see the little imprinted design in the styrofoam. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back with my ballpoint pen and trace into those lines and dig in a little bit deeper. These lines are going to create the negative space. In my printing. So the negative space is actually the space that won't have any color. So if you look at these prints and you see the white lines, that's my negative space. That's where I drew my design in the styrofoam. So I'm just making sure now that I'm making a nice deep imprint, because you want that negative space to really pop. If these lines aren't deep enough, your ink will get into it and you won't be able to see those lines. So I'm getting in there pretty deep, and I'm just going to put a design in the middle like that. And you're going to make 4 different designs to be printed. So I already have 2. I'm going to make 2 more quick designs. You should take your time with this. I'm just moving quickly for sake of the time on our video here, but you can take your time. And I'm drawing it right on, again, for time's sake, I'm drawing right on the styrofoam here, which you can do if you feel confident enough. I'm redrawing one of the designs, one of the leaves I showed you how to draw a little bit differently. And I am pushing pretty hard into the styrofoam to make sure that I get my imprint in there. Now that I have the 4 designs that I'm going to use for my printing, I'm going to show you what we're going to do next, and you are going to need your magic markers, and I'm going to switch my camera lens. I'll be right back. Okay, so now we're ready to color our printing plates. So using your magic marker, it just has to be water-based markers. Permanent markers will not work, so magic markers will work the best. You are going to color in your printing plates, and there's a number of ways to do this. You can color in the printing plate in a solid color, like the whole design, just one color. And you do want to get a nice amount of ink on here when you do that. This printing plate has been used before, so it's got a little bit of red going on in there, but that's okay. So you can certainly do a solid color like this, or you can color in your design as you would color in a coloring book, and just go into the different spaces. Now again, I'm going to try and work quickly for your benefit, but you please take your time. Now the styrofoam will hold the ink, and the ink won't seep into it, so it's okay if you take a few minutes to color it in. And I always tend to go toward the bright colors, but you can use any colors that you like. And on something like this, I can color the background as well, or I can leave the background blank like I did on this one. And when you actually make the print, you'll notice that the print will be brighter than your styrofoam plate will be. And I'm just going to quickly do one more. Okay, so I have my printing plates ready to go. So what I need to do now is I need to get my water, and I need a sponge, and I need some paper to print on. And the printing paper is perfect for this, or you can use mixed media paper. So what you're going to do first is wet the paper down with the sponge. You're not going to drench the paper, but you do have to get the paper completely saturated. So you're going to rub the sponge going across the page horizontally, and then you could do it again up and down vertically. And I definitely need some more water because it still looks dry. If the paper is too dry when you go to print, it won't pick up the ink. If it's too wet, the ink will run. So you need the perfect kind of in between. So right now my paper is definitely too wet, but that's okay, because in a moment it will dry. And if you kind of look in the light, you'll see it's a little bit shiny, but it's not dripping wet, so that's a good thing. I'm just gonna let it dry a little bit. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take one of my little printing blocks here, and I'm gonna put it down on the paper. Now once I put it down, that's it. I cannot move it, because if I move it, it'll smear. And I'm just gonna rub on the back of it. And I'm holding it down tight so I don't move it when I rub it down. And when I pick it up, you can see I have my first print. And I think I could have rubbed it a little bit more, but I still like the way it came out. It's still pretty. So now I'm going to go to my next piece. The paper is still wet enough to work with. If it gets too dry, I'm going to have to wet it again. And I'm going to put this down over here. And sometimes you can use like a closed glue stick to rub the back of the styrofoam. It's a little bit firmer than your hand. I'm just going to take a peek. Okay. If I pick it up, see how nicely that's coming out? Let's give this guy a try. Pressing it down, really rubbing the whole print, making sure I get all of the design. And go around the edges, just don't let it move. Oh yeah, perfect. That came out great. And let's see how my flower comes out. And now you can see I have a page of nice prints. And what you're going to do is you're going to make a few of each print, and then we're going to take it when the page is dry and put it together. Once you're finished making your prints, you're going to take a look at the ones that you like the best, and you're going to cut them out. And now we're going to put them onto a piece of paper to make them look like a textile that was printed in India. So after you've cut them out, you'll need a piece of paper, your prints, and a glue stick. And you're just going to look at all the different prints that you made and create a nice design using whichever ones you like the best. So I really love the way these flowers came out. They're really vibrant. And what I found was the darker the colors that I use in the magic markers, the better prints I ended up with. So I have some really nice vibrant prints. So once I've decided on my design, I'm just going to glue everything down. And I think I'm actually going to start in the middle so I can make it sort of straight. And I prefer to use a glue stick for this because it dries more quickly than Elmer's glue would or school glue would, and it's not as bumpy when it dries. So take your time to figure out how you want to arrange your prints on your final paper. Now, I cheated a little bit. I did blow dry my paper so it dried quickly, because you don't want to cut the paper when it's wet, because when the paper is wet, the wet fibers tend to make it weak and it could rip as you're trying to cut it. So if you have a hair dryer, you can dry it with the hair dryer. Otherwise, you're going to have to be a little bit patient. And the other good thing about using this glue is if your paper is a little wrinkly, you can really just rub it down and it'll flatten it out nicely. Just make sure you press those prints down really well, and then you have your final India woodblock textile. I hope you enjoy this lesson, and I will see you really soon. Bye-bye.